You can obviously do referencing yourself, or you can outsource it to a third-party referencing company for quite a modest price, and I would recommend doing that because they would tell you, in their view, in their experience, this is a tenant you want to take forward or not. So the referencing falls into three categories, really. Affordability, can they afford it? So evidence would be things like bank statements or pay slips. Those things will tell you, is there a regular flow of income coming into that person's bank account every month, every week, etc., that they can afford it. The industry standard is take the rent amount, times it by 30, and that would be the annual income that person is expected or you would like to have to pass the affordability criteria in the referencing process. So that's 30 times is quite a common industry standard for referencing criteria when it comes to affordability. Credit search, they're likely to have a credit file in the UK. If they've had a mobile phone or a loan or a credit card, those things, that data is stored on their credit file and you can access that credit file. And it will tell you, have they got any CCJs, have they been bankrupt, and other information like that. It won't tell you their payment profile of debts, etc., but it will tell you a bit about them that you can then move forward and say, this is okay. Having a CCJ isn't necessarily a showstopper. Some people do get into financial problems, but if they are honest about it and they work through it, maybe you can work with them. The previous landlord reference is also quite important. So you might have come across this information once you've asked them why are you moving, and they might have told you a bit about the landlord or about the situation, but a previous landlord reference is highly recommended, and you might actually want two references, one from the previous landlord or the current landlord and one from the landlord before. The reason for that is the most recent landlord might just tell you they're a good tenant when perhaps they might not be the best tenant, but their motivation is to move them on. So consider getting more than one landlord reference, but they will tell you if they're a good tenant, they would rent again, or a bad tenant, they wouldn't rent again. If any of these things are not as you'd like them, perhaps you can consider using a guarantor to strengthen the application. Now, a guarantor signs to say that they will uphold some of the conditions of the tenancy agreement if the tenant doesn't. And the most obvious one is they commit to paying the rent on behalf of the tenant if the tenant doesn't pay or can't pay. A whole section on different presentation on guarantors and a different video, but a guarantor might give you more comfort to move ahead with this tenant. So you've now got on with the tenant, they like the property, you like them, they pass your referencing, and now you can move forward to contract stage. So I hope that's given you a bit of a sense of how to find your perfect tenant.